You say, so tell me a little bit about your journey. How did you get, you mentioned doing mindfulness and I think you've talked about, you work in a corporate setting. Tell me a little bit about your journey to how you got to this interesting intention.
Okay, I'll try to give you the short version. I've worked in corporate learning and development for my whole career. I specialised in training design. From training design, I went on to leadership development. And I was at one point, probably back 2008, 2009, developing a leadership program for a client. All the corporate boxes were ticked. But I felt at a very deep level that there was something missing. There was something that I should be equipping these leaders with that I simply wasn't. But I didn't know what that something was. And I had an aha moment at a coaching association conference where there was a talk about the neuroscience of mindfulness. And that's what got me hooked. And so I figured, what are people going to do if I talk to a busy CEO or a director and I say mindfulness, what are they going to do? So I clicked into Google and I didn't like what I found. It was either, excuse me, because I know this is what your podcast's about, but hippie, spiritual, new agey, dry, dull, and academic, um, or therapeutic. And any of those would have put off potentially my audience. So I set about trying to make mindfulness more accessible. I set up a mindfulness information website called Mindfulnet to provide information in a couple of clicks. What is it? How does it work? Where's the science? What do I do next? I arranged a number of conferences to get discussion going in the media, and I wrote a number of books on the subject. And from that, a key ingredient of mindfulness is intention. And often it's overlooked in mindfulness training. So I started to research intention. And there is a growing evidence base, a growing research base, but it's still a bit fuzzy because people get very confused about what the word intention means. But intention is the active thing in the brain that makes the thing happen. Intention underpins everything, and it's the most underrated power in the whole universe. So intention is where it's at, whether it's purpose or whether it's just an intention to listen to people that day or an intention to enjoy the day as much as possible. Those might be micro intentions. But our intentions, conscious or unconscious, and a lot of the time it is unconscious, underpin absolutely everything we do. So whether we get into that helicopter or whether we drown, whether we take that job, we don't take the job, whether we paint our bathroom navy and pink and gold, or whether we go with sensible chrome.
Yeah. And it's interesting. So you found the kind of hippie side, the woo woo, potentially off-putting. And I think that's kind of where I've kind of come in. One of the things I found difficult with mindfulness was that it was often lumped in as, you know, so, oh, you're into mindfulness, you must also be into crystals, you must also be into Reiki, you must also be into this, that, and the other. And it'd be associated with oh, floaty this and incense that. And there's a place for that thing, exactly, yeah. And it's like that kind of gets in the way for a lot of people and hits all the cynicism buttons for a lot of people. And it potentially, even when you talk about smart objectives, people get that. And but this kind of deep desire and emotional connection might be a harder sell, or is it?
Not really. Not really, because I can link every single aspect to some science or neuroscience.
Brilliant.
And that's exactly what I did with the mindfulness side. It was about taking it apart. Why are we doing this? What's the function of this? How does this work in the brain? And it's exactly the same with the intention setting. There is a reason for everything. Intention, deep, sincere desire. So, do we want it enough? If we want something enough, it triggers multiple areas of the brain. We have stronger neural connections. We are more likely to be more vigilant. And as most people know, if you're trying to learn something or embed a habit, The more neural connections you get firing simultaneously, the stronger the connection. The stronger the connection, the easier it is to repeat. And it becomes stronger, and eventually it goes from being a dirt track into a superhighway. It becomes a default way of thinking. So, yeah, I'm not interested in, with the greatest respect, hippy trippy. I'm interested in, I know that there's something here, but what, why does it work and what can we do with it and what's the evidence? I like to take things apart and make complex things simple.